Hi, I'm Alexa. Welcome. Today is exactly 6 months since I posted my first video that was not just a 30-second intro. That time has gone by both quickly and slowly. And so I figured today I would talk a little bit about the good and the bad and just some lessons from it. So, the very first thing, that time has passed. And it seems like it's passed in the blink of an eye. I remember how nervous I was to upload my first video. You have all these thoughts about what might be, and if you have 100 thoughts, 99 of them are not going to come true. Like 99 of them are not what's going to happen. And it's if you start, and I know this lesson, and I've learned this lesson so many times, and it was still difficult for me to start and actually start posting. But if you just start, you're going to learn a lot more and do a lot more than if you're sitting around trying to think about it and wait until you have everything figured out to really start. So I know this lesson, but I still fall into the trap that a lot of us do, where we want to wait and figure things out and be better when we start than you would be. And it's not possible. You're a novice, right? If that's what you are, if you've never done something before, you're going to be a novice. You just have to jump in and start doing it. So that was a lesson reminder for myself. The second is you're going to look back and you're going to be like, oh, okay, but I did learn from some of those things. My earliest videos, I tried to put quite a bit in them. I wanted to capture people's attention as much as I am doing this for me. I also hope that it reaches the people who it will help. And constantly striving, and this is one of the bad points, is constantly uploading twice a week and trying to come up with new topics for them. It can be taxing if you put a lot in one topic, in one video. I've played around with the length of my videos. I've sort of settled on 15 to 20 minutes being what seems to work. View time is not quite there, but again, for me, the topics that I choose and the amount of time I then talk about them and what I bring into the videos, 15 to 20 minutes works for me. There are people who do other formats and they are an hour or 2 hours long, and depending on what you're watching will also influence how much time you're going to spend watching. There's people that I will watch for 10 minutes, and there's people that I will have on sort of replay for hours, just more for probably in my case, more because the sound of their voice is something soothing to me. I have something called misophonia, and there's a lot of sounds I absolutely cannot stand, a lot of sights as well, like chewing is just like the worst. But there's also sounds and sights, textures, that make everything relax. And it's the opposite of what misophonia does. So to me, I think that some of my ability to listen to certain shows or videos, whatnot, over and over again is really more to do with that. It does give me the relaxing opposite of what a misophonia sound trigger does for me. So it's going to be different if you do any videos for you. You have to figure out what you want to do, what you enjoy doing. One of the reasons I didn't post, I had the channel name for a few years. Someone dubbed me Real Life Alexa. They said if they don't know, they can always ask me and I'll be able to give them the answer, which was kind of funny and flattering. I mean, honestly, half the time when they ask me stuff, if I don't know, I'm Googling it too. But she's like, yeah, but I know you do that. So then you'll answer me and explain it the way I can understand. So it works for her, and I learned stuff new as well. But I had the channel name and I was like, well, what am I going to do with it, right? Like, what is my gift, I guess, right? There are people who do van life. There are people who do pet channels. There are people who do homesteading or DIY or crafts or cooking or, I watch true crime ones. Like, there's all of these niche channels. And if you like something, you can find a channel with it. And none of what I watched fit me. My interests tend to be more cerebral in nature and learning about things and piecing together how our world is interconnected, on a personal level, on a societal level, like that kind of idea. And it was really watching one specific YouTube channel where I realized that they were just sitting around talking about their life. And I don't do the same thing they do. I don't. But I do at a higher level do the same thing because I am sitting around talking about my life. And our lives are different. And the way I do it is different. The amount of time I spend is different. The format is different. And that's okay. That's the whole point, is sometimes you don't know exactly what you want. So if you start, you're going to be able to refine what you're doing down a little bit more. And I fully expect what I do to continue refining over the next several years. Just looking back this weekend, I watched some of my earliest videos, some of my I watched a bunch of them just to sort of go through time. And I really noticed a progression of where I was at the very beginning to where I was in my most recent video. And that evolution, that journey, and that learning, that's one of the pros. That is one of the things that you can give yourself when you do start a new hobby and you do start as a novice, and accept yourself as being a novice and being open to learning and finding new things. So some of the bad things, I look back at some of my videos and I do think, oh my gosh, I should get a different cover photo on that. Or, I'll realize, like, I think in one video I did 4 different takes of it because Kane kept jumping on the desk and interrupting it. And I realized at a certain point I said, as I previously mentioned, but in that version, the final version that I uploaded, I actually hadn't mentioned what I said as I've just mentioned. And if I go back in most of my videos, there's probably little things here and there where I was like, oh, I said that wrong, or oh, I meant it this way. But if you're here and you're watching me, I'm human. I'm not always fully correct or accurate. I don't always say the exact perfect thing, right? None of us do. So hopefully there's that little bit of grace that we can all give ourselves and each other to know, oh, she meant this, right? Even if she didn't say the exact words that I would expect someone to say to say that. I think intercultural communication is so valuable. If you are able to strike up conversations on a regular basis with people outside of your normal culture. And listen, I mean, even within the US, if you are moving from, the Midwest to New England or like the South or wherever, it's a different culture, right? There's a different way of life. There's a different pace to life. There's different culture. There's different things in the background, traditions, that's the word I'm looking for. There's different traditions, and you can learn so much from those, and you can open yourself to listening to what people say, how they say it, and what sort of words and phrases they use to essentially mean the same thing that you might say in a different way. And those are so valuable. Getting a little lost here in my thoughts, but it's one of those things where, as I have gone back and looked at the videos, and as I have spotted those little things where I'm like, I should have said this fact here, or, oh, I said that a little bit wrong, I needed to clarify it. I've been able to also look at myself and give myself that grace that I I try to give to others to understand where I was coming from in the moment and to really understand the message versus really tiny little nitpicky specifics. Um, one of the bad things I think is that sometimes what we hope and wish for doesn't happen immediately, but that also might be a good thing. So, as far as I have come in 6 months, I fully expect myself to continue growing in the next 6 months. And maybe people not seeing my earlier videos is a blessing because they would say, oh, I'm never going back to that. Whereas if they see some of my future videos, hopefully my future videos, it might be at a level that's more inviting them to come in and to then go back and look at that journey that has been one I have been on and to see where I have grown and moved not up, but along this path, right? I recently just tried my first live, and it was a very weird and different format than this and talking to the camera. There's no do-overs in a live. There's no restart the video, which there is in this format that I do here. And it was very outside of my comfort zone. But that's a bad thing in some ways, but it's also a good thing. One of the things I'm really trying with this channel is to put myself outside of my comfort zone, to face fears and to move through them, because the more fears you can face and realize that they really were not worth worrying about, the more future fears become easier to face because you've faced so many. And this is a journey that I have been on for many years. It's what I will continue to do for as long as I'm able to, and really challenge my own way of thinking about new situations. So this is a pretty, I don't know. I don't think it's long-winded. Maybe it is. I think it's just a reflection on some of the lessons I've learned. And if you're looking to start a channel, my advice is jump in. As much as you could sit here and listen to myself or other people give you advice, give you the lessons we've learned, you're going to have different lessons than the ones I have needed to learn and that I will need to learn in the future because of the different backgrounds we have, the different skills we bring to these situations, and just in general, the different experiences we will have if you start your channel versus me having mine. So anyway, that is it. If you've been with me since the beginning, I want to thank you wholeheartedly. Thank you. If you're new, I hope you stick around, and I thank you for giving me a chance too. And if you're here and this isn't your jam, that's okay. Thank you for at least giving it a shot. I appreciate it. And as always, like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think about facing fears, lessons learned, the journeys we're on. And as always, be kind to yourself.